Friends, let us observe this trabeculectomy in a pseudophakic eye. The patient has undergone vitrectomy with endolaser for proliferative diabetic retinopathy, and the patient has developed intractable glaucoma which we cannot control with medications. So the VA surgeon has asked me to do this trabeculectomy. Let us observe this surgery. This is an edited video. The surgery took 28 minutes. I have reduced the time to 18 minutes by editing. So the peritomy has been done. I have taken the tenons and conjunctiva together after initial incision on the conjunctiva, and now I'm going to do a very mild wet field cautery so that I can make a nice scleral flap. I usually make a triangular scleral flap, so very mild cautery is being done, and this much area is enough for this surgery. And now I'm going to make an incision, a triangular incision. Here I want to undermine the tenons so that blade can form posteriorly. So I undermine the tenons, and at this time we must be very careful about the superior rectus tendon. We must not cause any injury to the superior rectus or superior oblique tendons. And now this incision, this is an oblique incision and this is another oblique incision. They join at a point and we get a triangular area. And now if we dissect the sclera of this area, we get a triangular scleral flap, and this thickness of this scleral flap has to be about 1/3 to half thickness of the sclera. If it is thinner than that, there is a chance of buttonholing in this flap, and then the purpose of the surgery fails. So I made the flap with the 50 number Bart Burka blade itself. We can use a crescent blade very carefully. I find more comfortable with this instrument. Whatever instrument you find comfortable, you can use that, but do a very nice job. Do justice to the faith of the patient. The patient has surrendered to you. The patient has surrendered to me. So I must do my best with whatever instrument I have and whatever instrument I have to arrange. This is mitomycin C soaked cotton ball. We can inject a bit of mitomycin C also, but I prefer this. And now I am making an limbal incision so that I can use it later. So I made this incision. I'll use it for various purposes. And now we wait for some time so that the mitomycin C acts. Another small cotton ball has been applied under the scleral flap. This is a bit of basis over the cornea. And now I remove the cotton balls and wash the area very nicely with bases. And now a piece of tissue is removed. A window is to be made. Two parallel incisions parallel to the limbus almost. Some amount of aqueous comes out. And now these two incisions on either side, one, and this is two. Now I go to the other side, hold it and cut this side, and I have to cut the other side. So we have got a nice window. Aqueous humor will come through this window, will come under the scleral flap, and now I'm going to make a peripheral iridectomy. A very nice peripheral iridectomy has been made. So the aqueous humor can come directly from the posterior chamber to the anterior chamber. Through this window it can come under the scleral flap, and from there in the subconjunctival space. Now I have injected an air bubble through the side port that I have made at 9 o'clock. And now waiting for suture. This is a suture which will not be removed at the apex. I put releasable sutures on either side of these triangular scleral flap, not at the apex. Two throws, one more throw, and one more. And now cut the threads. And now bury this knot in the scleral tissue. And now I am going to put two more sutures near the base of this scleral flap. This will also not be removed. This is one, and this is another one. And now we're going to tie these knots. This is one, two throws, then one, and this is another one. Now cut the threads near the knot and then bury the knot in the tissue. Similarly, the other suture is placed near the base of this triangular scleral flap. The idea is the aqueous humor come out through the underneath the scleral flap, but it will not come near the limbus. It will come little posteriorly, and then it will come to subconjunctival space posteriorly, not near the limbus. That's why these two incisions near the limbus. And now two releasable sutures on either side of these triangular scleral flap. The releasable sutures come from outside the conjunctiva, and then it comes to this side, and now pull it. And now how to place the releasable suture. We just have to place 3 throws like this. 1, 2, 3. 3 throws. Hold this thread and pull it. And cut the longer thread with the needle near the knot. And now as we pull the thread which is outside the conjunctiva, it will come off. Releasable suture on the right arm of the scleral flap. Here it goes. The suture come out from outside the conjunctiva. The bites are taken, and now pull the thread, and now 3 throws. 1, 1, 2, 3. Pull it and just cut the thread with the needle, and as we pull the thread from outside the conjunctiva, this knot will open up. And now we are done with this surgery. We just have to oppose the conjunctiva nicely to the limbus, and this job has to be very nice. I am going to place 2 releasable suture on this side and then place 3 matrix suture at the limbus. This is a bit of moxie. I use a superior rectus bridle suture. It never leaks. I don't like to put a suture on the cornea and pull it. The superior rectus bridle suture, those openings, aqueous never leaks through those. And now this is 1, 2, 3. This is on releasable suture. I'm going to trim this also, but keep it longer so that we know which one to pull. We have to pull the longer thread so that the knot opens up and the releasable suture can be easily removed. This is another releasable suture on this side. Because there was a little bit of radial cut, and that's it. Just trim it. Keep the other thread little longer, but trim it. Don't let any suture come onto the cornea. Any suture over the cornea will cause irritation and the patient will be uncomfortable. But if it is over the conjunctiva, irritation will not be much. This is another releasable suture on this side. 1, 2, 3. Hold the thread, pull it. Now just cut it close to the knot. That's it. And now we cannot leave it like this. I'm going to place 3 matrix sutures to oppose the conjunctiva nicely to the limbus. Comes from here, comes to this side, conjunctival side. Now from conjunctival side it goes to the other side. We have to be very gentle in this case, otherwise this thin tissue will just tear off. And now here only one through, single through. This one. And this is one more. This is another one. So this is on, not. Trim it. We can remove these matrix sutures after about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on if it causes some irritation. Again, another matrix suture. Comes to the conjunctival side. Now from conjunctival side to the limbal side. And when we go through the limbal side, we have to be very gentle. Again, just on, not. This is one. This is another one, and this is another one. And now this is another matrix suture. In this case, the first matrix suture somehow, see what happens. Pull it. And it comes off from that side. So what I do is, I place it now again from the limbal side, come back to the corneal side, and place the suture over the conjunctiva. Place the knot over the conjunctiva. The other two knots are at the limbus. And it is done. And now I'm going to remove the air bubble. I'm going to use a Simcoe cannula. Remove the air bubble, wash the anterior chamber very nicely. Leave pure clean biases in the anterior chamber. And now come out. And the final step is going to inject a bit of moxie in the anterior chamber. Here it is. Hydrate the stroma as well as it goes into the anterior chamber. Thank you very much for your attention. Hope this video will help you in many ways in managing trabeculectomies in pseudophakic eyes in patients with intractable glaucoma. Thank you very much for your attention. Be a great citizen and serve your patients with love, respect, compassion, great surgical competence, and with all your heart.